99% of Fibonacci strategies you see on YouTube are a waste of time. So I decided to backtest over 1,000 trades using only one candle. And this one setup you guys are going to learn in this video kept showing up as a consistent winner. Okay, so before we start backtesting and I show some examples on the charts, what I want to do first is break it down with this individual candle here to make it super simple to understand. So let's imagine we're on the daily time frame and this is the singular daily candle. The first thing we're going to do is grab our Fibonacci retracement and drag it from the top to the bottom of this candle. Now your fib will not look the same as mine at the time, but that's fine. I'm going to show you the settings here, and these are the ones you need to copy. As you can see, the numbers we have marked here are 1.4, 1, 0.8, 0.2, 0 and minus 0.4. Now with this singular fib as it is, it gives us our exact position on where to place our entry point, stop loss and take profit, whether it's a buy or a sell. So for example, if price came to sweep the previous day highs, we would be entering buys and we would wait for price to hit our take profit here. And the same for sells. If price comes down and sweeps the daily low, we would enter the trade with a sell and hit our take profit down here. Now the idea here with this is that above the daily highs and lows, there's liquidity resting in the market. So all we want to do is wait for either a breach of the high or the low and then join in on this impulsive move to trade it to our take profits. Now with this system, you want to avoid trading between the hours of 5 and 6 AM GMT, that's UK time. The reason for this is because that's when liquidity in the markets tends to slow down. These are the times where you're going to see a lot of liquidity grabs resulting in losses with this system. So to counter this, we're only entering trades in London and New York session. So let's say as price breaks out at the start of the new day, it comes into our session here and we hit our entry point. If this was the case, we would then place our buy position on this line with our stop loss at the 0.8 and our take profit at the 1.4. This would give us an almost perfect 2-to-1, and then price will move upwards and hit our profit. This looks the exact same on the sell, so if price starts here and then we slowly come into our trading session and price hits our entry, we would then place our sell position on the 0 line with our stop loss at the 0.2 and our take profit at the minus 0.4, and then price would come down to our take profit. It's as simple as this. Now let's jump into backtesting this strategy on the charts to show some real examples on Euro USD. But before we do that, if you guys are interested, I do have a completely free playbook linked down in the description if you haven't already grabbed it. It's up to you, it's completely free. So now let's jump into some real examples and we'll get started with step 1, which is to mark our fib retracement from the high of the candle all the way down to the low. And now what we're going to do is we're going to drop down to the 15-minute time frame so we can see next day's price action play out a lot clearer. Okay, now that we've dropped down to the 15-minute, you can see that I have some indicators on my screen to help us identify things a lot easier. So the first one I have is called trading sessions, and it looks like this. Your trading sessions won't look the same as mine, but if you just type in the same details that I have here, then it will eventually. Now the reason we have this trading session is because this clearly identifies when we want to be in a trade. We want to make sure that these trades enter within this specific blue window that I've labeled here. The reason for this is so we don't get caught in any liquidity grabs, and we're also trading in the market when it has the most volume. Now a second indicator I have marked out is just the daily open and close of the previous day and the current day. That's just to make it super simple to understand when we need to move on to the next day with each trade. So moving into the example, as you can see, we've got the high and the low of this day marked so far. So now what we're going to do is we're going to play price and wait for it to come in inside our blue window and either tap this entry point for a buy or this entry point for a sell. So let's play that through. Okay, so now we're within our time window. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait for price to either tap this line to enter buys or this line to enter sells. And there we go. As you can see, price tapped here. I was a bit late to stop it, but this is still within our window and price is tapped. So what we would do in this position is we would place our short position on the white line with our stops at the red line and our take profits at the green line. There we go. I've zoomed in to make it a little bit easier to see, but now we have that marked. Let's see where the price hits our take profit within this session. And it doesn't hit it within this session. Do we hit it within this day? No, we don't hit it within this day, but that's fine. We can leave the trade running and move on to the next day, and we can still leave this here. So what I'll actually do quickly is, if I zoom out, I will take my new daily high and low and drag this along. Here's the high, and then we'll also drag our lows to the low of that day. Perfect. So now we have everything marked, and we can move into the next day while still leaving this trade running. So again, we'll just wait for price to come into our time window. There we go. And now we're waiting for price to again either tap this line or this line. Perfect. So as you can see here, we've actually done two things at once. We've tapped this line, which would trigger an entry where we would place our short position again here with our stop loss at the red line, which is the 0.2, and our take profit at the green line, which is the minus 0.4. We've also at the same time hit take profit on this previous trade, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is I'll write down here just a +2 RR for that trade. This is just to help us keep track of how many trades we win or lose with this strategy. And now that that's done, we will continue to play this trade out for the rest of the day to see if we hit take profit within this day. Okay, and again, as you can see here, we haven't hit take profit in this day, but like we said, we can leave this trade running now that we're in it and just mark up the next day. So I'll zoom back out and I'll take my high to the high of this day and my lows to the new low of this day that we have just created. And I'll drag this all the way across so we can see it for our next day. There we go. And now we'll play the trade through again to see what happens. Okay, so now we're in our trading window and we've also hit our entry point again for another sell. Again, this is relayed over and we've got another +2 RR because we've hit our take profit on this trade. So I'll make sure to write that down. And as you can see now, these past two trades have played out beautifully and we've been entered into our next trade. So again, we'll be placing our short position here with our stops on the red line, the 0.2, and our take profits at the green line, the minus 0.4. Now let's play this trade out and see how it goes. And as you can see here, we have hit stop loss on this trade, which is absolutely fine because no system has a 100% win rate. So what we'll do is we'll document this here and I will just write -1 RR. And now we'll just move on to the next day. Something I want to add quickly is when you are backtesting, it is vital to write down how much RR you are in on every trade, even the losses. So as you can see here, we came down to a 1.38, or call it a 1.4 RR before we returned and hit our stop loss. The reason we do this is because it helps us to identify what the best RR is to set for your specific strategy. And after backtesting this strategy hundreds of times, we noticed that 2 RR seems to be the sweet spot. So what we can do is we can zoom out and set our new daily high and daily low. Here's the high, and then I'll drag this out all the way to the end, mark our new low, and then we can zoom back in and continue from here. Now, as you can see here, we have hit our entry point on this day. However, it's not within our trading times, so we will not be entering the trade yet. Because of this has completely invalidated this entry point. So now the only thing that we can do on this day is wait for buys at this entry point, even when it comes into our session time. So let's see if that happens. Okay, so as you can see here, price has actually came to our entry point within our session and hit our take profit. However, we won't be entering this trade because we've already hit our entry point before we've got in the trade. So because of this, we'll completely wipe this day and move on to the next. Okay, now I've got the next day marked. We're going to wait for price to enter our session and see if we can get any positions on the charts. Okay, so now we're in our session and we wait for price to tap our entry point. Is it going to tap? There we go, perfect. So in this position, again, we would enter a short here and we would have our take profits at the green line, the -0.4, and our stop losses at the and our stop loss is at the 0.2. And as you can see here, within the space of 3 candles, we have actually already been stopped out on this trade. But like I say, that's absolutely fine. We just note this down and move on to the next one. So that's a -1 RR. And now we will draw out the next day. Okay, now we're on the next day. Again, we will wait for price to hit our entry points. Again, as you can see here, we've already tapped this entry point. So because of that, the only place we can look for positions is on this line for sales today. As you can see, this is a completely invalidated day, no trades for us on this day. So all we will do is we will move to the next. Okay, now we have our next day marked. Let's play our price and see if we can get any entries. Okay, so we've came into our session. Let's wait for price to hit our buy or sell point. There we go. We have hit this buy trigger. So what we would do here is place our long position on the chart when we would be entered and have our take profits at the 1.4 green line and our stop loss at the red 0.8 line. Now let's play this out and see how the trade performs. And we've absolutely smashed our take profit here. So this would be a plus to RR. And we've documented that. Now let's play price out for the rest of the day. And we will move on to the next day. Perfect. Now that that's marked, we will play out the next day and see if we can get any positions. So as you can see here, we haven't got any positions within this trading window. So because of this, we will completely void this day. We'll play it out until the end and we will move on to the next day to see if we can get any more. Perfect. Now we're through to the next day. Let's play price out and see if we can get any entries. Okay, now we're within our window. Let's see if price comes to an entry point. And there we go. As you can see, within the space of 2 candles, we have hit our entry point here with our take profit at the green line and our stops at the red 0.8. And we have instantly hit take profit. So this would be another plus to RR. Now, in real time, you would have seen how price is formed, but for backtesting purposes, it's always best to zoom in to the 3 or the 5 minute to make sure that you haven't been wicked to your stop loss. And that's especially in cases like this where we have extremely large candles on the chart. So now that I've dropped down to the 5 minute, we can see that as soon as price tapped us in, we only moved upwards and hit our take profit. It's always best to check this because price might tap you in, quickly wick to the stop loss and then move to take profit, and that would be considered a loss. However, if we wick the stop loss first and then hit our entry point and hit the take profit, that counts as a win. In this case, this would be a win. Now I've jumped back to the 15, and with that tip in mind, let's move on to the next day and draw our charts as we move over. Now this is marked out, we will play price through and see if we can get any trades. We're now into our session. And will we get an entry within this? And there is no trades within our session, so because of this, we'll just move straight on to the next day. Okay, we're within our session. Oh, and as you can see, I might have pressed price a bit too quickly there. We have entered a long position here on this line with our stops at the red line and our take profits at the green line. I'll just drag this a little bit closer so you can see. But again, I just want to reiterate what I said in the last winning trade that we had. You can see there's very large candles here. So because of that, what we're going to do is drop down to the 5 minute just to make sure that it didn't wick the stop loss first. And as you can see, we hit this entry price, we just moved upwards and we hit our take profit. So in this case, we're absolutely fine and we can move on to the next trade. Okay, let's call it there, and overall this backtesting session has turned out really well. So I've zoomed out to the 4 hour here so we can look back at all the trades, and as you can see, if we add everything up here, we have ended up with a total of a plus 10 RR in winning trades, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and a minus 2 RR in losing trades. So that would leave us with a total of 8 RR in the positive. So for this particular batch of trades, the system came in with an around 83% win rate with a 2 RR, which is extremely strong. What I want you to keep in mind though is this percentage only reflects this small sample of the charts. And when I look at the larger data set of hundreds of backtested trades on your USD with this system, the actual system comes closer to a 60% win rate with a 2 RR consistently. Now with a 60% win rate and a 2 RR, that is more than enough to get you to extreme profitability and pass any funded account you want or grow your own personal trading account. So this strategy will definitely help you do that. Hopefully you enjoyed following along with this session. If you did, feel free to leave a comment. And if you haven't downloaded our free playbook in the description yet, make sure to go and grab it. Any questions you have can go straight in the comments as well, and I'll respond as best as I can. That's all for this one, and I'll see you in the next video.